welcome back to Director Watch, an AwardsWatch podcast that attempts to get inside the mind of cinema's greatest auteurs, explore what drives them, and maybe we go on a few unrelated tangents along the way. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor here at AwardsWatch, and joining me as always is the third co-founder of the Coalition for Moral Order, my co-host, Jay Ledbetter.
And Ryan, I'm so pleased to announce that today on the podcast, we will have guest Yasser Arafat and Kate Moss. Everybody get excited. It's time to talk about the Birdcage. I am very excited for this one. Elaine May is back in Mike Nichols' life.
Yes.
What a thing to talk about.
What a thing to talk about, indeed. Jay, I really am excited about this one. This is one you've seen, right?
I've seen this one. Yeah, it's, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. We don't want to spoil it for the audience out there, but it's a big one. I think it's a big one. Wouldn't you say?
I think it's absolutely a big one.
I think so too. Well, we had to. You are going to give the definitive take on this film, which is
I think I've
you
got the appropriate kind of demographics to really kind of
actually. I know
talk people through this one.
I know the listeners won't see it, but can you actually turn your hat backwards if you could for us, please? Because I think that's the only way you can give the definitive take tonight is if you do that. That's only fair. He's getting his headset back on, guys, but he's doing this for you all out there. Right, Jay?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And now, before I wasn't sure I could give the definitive take. Now I'm confident I can give the definitive take.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. And you're going to have a little bit of help from our guest today.
Okay.
Who is the...
Not that I need it.
Who's our fearless leader here at this website. And also the guy that thought like 70, 80 episodes ago that this was a good idea for a show. And that's our Editor-In-Chief Erik Anderson. Welcome back to Director Watch, Erik.
I was adorable once, young and full of hope. And now look at me. I am this short, fat, insecure, middle-aged thing.
The website made you short?
Here we are. Hi. This is all my fault.
This is all your fault.
That is,
Erik, when this
true.
comes out week after week and you hear it and you see the feedback and all this stuff, do you think you've made a grave mistake giving us this platform?
I think about it even before it happens. Yes.
That's fair.
It's what I'm thinking about right now.
That's a good point.
That's fair.
Yeah. And yet, here he is.
And yet, he still allows it because
he's trying to...
I think he's trying to build the case
into quality.
Yeah, I think he's trying to turn us into quality, or maybe he's just there's nothing I can do. The fire is already happening. Might as well just, whatever, let this whole thing burn, this podcast. So I don't know. Erik allows us to do a lot of silly, stupid shit. And I thank you for that, Erik. And you decided to come on to this series for this movie specifically. We kind of just, we knew you wanted to talk about this.
Well, that's because he's sort of the Senator Keeley of AwardsWatch.
Yeah, it's true. He's very
kind of establishing the moral values of the site and things like that.
Erik, your thoughts on JFK Jr.?
On JFK Jr.?
RFK? Are you saying RFK Jr.?
Well, yeah, both.
I have thoughts on both.
Yeah, let's do JFK. This is a nice podcast, and then RFK.
And Jeb Bush.
Yeah, Jeb Bush.
A very important figure.
Have you ever stayed with the Bushes, Erik?
I was going to say, save room for coffee.
Please clap.
Please clap. Truly one of the funniest things and saddest thing that's ever happened in politics. And we thought that was wild back then. But Erik's been watching all the Senate approvals, and he's been approving of those people as well. But anyway, Erik, Mike Nichols, the director that we're talking about in this series, been asking all of our guests the same question I'm going to ask you, which is, Mike Nichols, what do you like about him? What don't you like about him? Him as a director, when you think of Mike Nichols, what do you think about?
I don't think I dislike
cool.
anything. Done. Bye.
Yeah, you don't think. All right, moving on.
I don't think I dislike anything about Mike Nichols. I think he might be one of the top tier, just journeyman directors that can kind of pass through.
Some people would view that as a negative label.
Multiple genres. I think there are negative versions of it. And I think most those most of those, yeah, then you become sort of director for hire versus somebody who's able to do a lot of things. Doug Liman can do a lot of things. Go or those are good movies. Those are good movies.
Jumper.
But no, yeah, I just think Mike Nichols to be able to do like Virginia Woolf and The Graduate back to back, and then something like The Birdcage, which we're going to talk about today, and then Primary Colors right after that. I don't know. I just think he has just a perfect director's eye and knack.
What do you think
Eric,
about Day of the Dolphin?
I was just going to ask him this.
Oh my God. It's been too long. I can't say I have too many
Fond memories?
either.
The dolphins speak English.
Well,
What more can he ask for from a film?
I mean,
I feel like Eric would make some dolphins learn and teach him how to speak English so that he could assassinate the president of the United States. I feel like that's a plot that Eric would do in real life.
considering how things are now, I don't know why this hasn't been employed like for real.
This is actually the backup plan for the Democratic Party, which is crazy.
I like it.
Yeah.
Go
Eric,
Flipper.
If they had to cast Day of the Dolphin nowadays, Eric, who do you think that they would get? This has actually been a recurring question.
Oh yeah, this was a question before.
This is a really good one.
Yeah. See, I think it would be Goofy. It would be
what?
self-aware. Like Day of the Dolphin now is.
You
like
mean
an
who would they
ironic-
cast as the dolphin?
No, as the
George C. Scott.
George
Yeah,
C.
I know.
Scott role. as the dolphin.
God, how old was George C. Scott?
Although
at
the
time?
dolphin
Because
probably
it-
would be, yeah, like
I feel like Gary Oldman would play the dolphin. Like he could get.
I
him to
feel like
make
he's too old though now.
no
Because no way, there's no way that Gary Oldman is running around
I know
in
who would
those
be the
tight
dolphin.
wetsuit shorts. It's not going to happen.
I know. I was just saying he played the dolphin. I wasn't saying he played George.
Oh,
C.
okay,
Scott.
sure.
Yeah, I was thinking Will Arnett would probably play the dolphin actually because he's.
I would go for Jude Law.
Oh, Jude Law.
oh, as the
Ooh.
lead.
Yeah,
He could
I'd
do
go
that.
Jude Law.
Who would direct it, Eric? Guy Ritchie.
Oh God, no, please, no. No,
God,
no.
I saw this clip.
David
today.
Ayer?
Doug Lyman.
Doug
Well,
Lyman.
that's probably
Yeah,
actually
pro-
true.
it's
He
like
probably would though, actually.
David Ayer, right?
Oh God.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
One
I
of
saw
those-
this. I saw
of
this
those-
clip today of Jude Law with Stephen Colbert, and Stephen Colbert asked him what his favorite sandwich was.
Oh, and he
Yeah.
said that it was.
And he said he
I
doesn't
don't
eat bread.
Yeah.
So my favorite sandwich is me, my kids in the middle, and my wife on the other
Doesn't he
side.
have like 9
and I was like,
kids?
what a guy, Mr. Napkinhead himself.
Doesn't he have like 9 kids in real life or something like that?
Not 9, but a lot.
It's a lot, right? I'm gonna look this up.
From all over.
Yeah. He's got. Hang on.
Wow.
7
Is
kids.
this one of those tangents? that
7 kids.
7
Yeah, we're
kids.
on
That's-
Jude Law on the Birdcage
That's
episode.
that's a stacked.
We're off to a
All
All right,
rocky
yeah,
start.
seven's a lot. It's not, Nick Cannon, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it's not Tyreek Hill. Jay will only understand that reference.
Look, I got no love for Tyreek Hill. I can't. Yeah, I don't know. We're not going to go on a Tyreek Hill tangent.
Wait,
that's not.
why
what
do you
we're
hate
doing today.
Tyreek Hill? Say it. Come on.
are-
It's okay.
Because he beat his pregnant girlfriend in college.
Oh, well, I wasn't going. I thought you were talking about like football wise.
No, that's why I hate Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, no, that's very justified. I thought it was like a football.
No.
Well, I don't know where you're going to go sometimes with these things.
Did you not? Were you not aware of that?
No, I mean, I was aware of that, and that's
Yeah.
a justifiable reason, but usually it's just a sports take on this show.
Here's a funny story. My mom, very
Where's
Christian,
the show going?
yeah, this is off to a hot start.
Yeah, it's a hot
My
start.
mom, a very religious person, like devoutly, like Bible study 2 hours every morning, all that stuff.
2 hours.
And I was watching
she
a
wake up?
Chiefs. I was watching a Chiefs game, and she was there. And Tyreek Hill had a really good game, had like a game-winning touchdown. And afterwards, they interviewed him, and he was like, "They were like, oh, what an incredible catch! What do you have to say? Oh, first of all, I'd like to praise God." And my mom was like, "Wow, he seems like a great guy." And I was like, "He beat his pregnant girlfriend in college." And she said, "Oh, well, people change." And I was like, "Okay, that is Moving on. So
Anyway, pass the cranberries, Mom.
my
and
mom
it was
does not
at
listen to
Thanksgiving.
this podcast.
Yeah.
Certainly not the Birdcage episode.
Yeah.
I think anyone that came into this podcast to listen to the Birdcage has checked out.
We have
Yeah.
a very fraught relationship.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
You guys got a Super Bowl prediction?
No,
I'm
we're
just
not
kidding.
doing
By
that.
Are you looking for ways to make this more homophobic?
Well, I mean, Eric totally forgot that the Super Bowl was happening like literally the weekend it was happening. He's like,
I did.
When's this little Guild Award announcement happening? Why aren't they doing it on Sunday? I don't know. The biggest goddamn television event of the year is on.
No one seems like happy about it. Everyone seems like mad.
Nobody seems happy
Yeah.
about anything right now, to be
Well,
fair.
there's that.
There's that.
What do you mean? Things are going great. Mel Gibson's fixing Hollywood.
Eric, do you have a fourth horseman of the apocalypse that would join?
Who's the most mad they weren't put on the
who's
committee
really
for
upset?
Hollywood improvement or whatever
Because
it's
that
called?
kind of actually would ties into the Birdcage because of Senator Keeley and Gene Hackman's character. He
True.
seems like somebody that would make.
Oh my God.
the
Have we
Stallone-
reverted back to
Hell yeah, we did. Look at how I got us back on track. And that's how he would probably get John Voight and Mel Gibson and Stallone. So who's the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, Eric?
You mean that thinks that they should be on it?
Yes.
Yeah, that didn't
Oh,
get mentioned.
absolutely, James Woods.
Oh, James Woods. I mean,
Woodsy.
that's a good one. We've been saying
Yeah.
Quaid.
We've been saying Quaid.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
I did also throw out in the
A
last
Nichols
episode.
collaborator.
Last week, I did say Richard Dreyfuss. I feel like Dreyfuss would have wanted to be on that. a lot.
And obviously, Rob Schneider would try and find a way to.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
So,
that's
you know.
true. Yeah, man. You think Sandler still hangs out with them?
I can just about guarantee you he still does.
Oh, wow, that's friendship. Anyway, Jay.
Wow.
Last week we did Postcards from the Edge.
Yeah.
And this week we're doing the Birdcage, but there were 2 movies in between.
Yeah.
I know Eric's seen
A
these
little
2
bit of
movies.
a little bit of a valley for old
Yeah.
Mike Nichols.
Yeah, it really was a range. Eric talked about range in like a tapestry within films from 90 to 96. He really just circled all the genres. 91, a little movie called Regarding Henry.
Yeah.
Jay,
Underrated.
Underrated, you think?
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll get to Eric's thoughts regarding that. Anyway, Jay, your thoughts on Regarding Henry? First time watch,
I
right?
think first time watch, I think it is Mike Nichols' most anonymous movie.
Yep.
He basically agreed to do it on a whim because he thought the studio was going to screw over Postcards from the Edge and it was going to make no money, and he wanted to guarantee that he could make another movie. It is very movie of the week to me. And I think everybody in the movie is doing fine work. But the movie itself, like, just kind of fails to establish any sort of direction or theme, in my opinion. Sort of a J.J. Abrams special, if you will, because this was the first screenplay of J.J. Abrams that was produced in Hollywood. But it's just a film. I will give it this. It doesn't feel like an incredibly misguided, depiction of like a disabled person or anything like that from Harrison Ford. I think he actually plays that quite well and quite empathetically and in a reserved manner that I think really works. But the film itself is just so bland to me. It never transcends mediocrity, in my opinion, which is almost more frustrating than being very, very bad.
It's either good or bad. It's
yeah.
like stuck in the middle. Right?
It is just sort of stuck in purgatory. So not for me, but Eric said it's one of his 2 favorite Nichols movies.
Well, he's like a
Jesus
big
Christ.
he's a big fan of Gracie Abrams too, and her dad, so that's why he also
That is enough Gracie Abrams on this podcast. We're not going to do that anymore. I've spoken my piece about Gracie Abrams.
What? What's wrong? What's wrong with talking? Oh, like as when you always brought up Coda, like for an entire series.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm allowed to do.
Oh, you're allowed to do bits.
I'm allowed to
That's true.
overcook bits. You are
Oh,
not.
okay. Oh, okay. Well,
That is a fact.
that's not fair. I think that. Well, Eric's the boss here. Eric, judge.
He's the
Can I do overcooked bits?
head of the bit committee.
We're 22 minutes in, so this isn't just overcooked, it's burnt.
Hell yeah. Sometimes you like a
So
little bit of a char. You know what I mean?
Well, honestly, what I like about this podcast is that I know after about 15 minutes, nobody's listening anymore, so I can really let loose.
Let loose.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put those markers on that people always ask for. So like the
Mhm.
first 25 minutes is gonna be called skip it.
Absolute nonsense.
And then the next hour and a half is
Movie.
here's what you want.
Here's what you came for.
Yep.
Eric, you have thoughts on regarding Henry? It's been a while, right?
No, I think it's fine. It's not bad or good. And I think to
kind of like the show.
To Jay's point that it doesn't go overboard with disability ickiness. And that's, I think, something to its advantage. But yes, to the disadvantage, it becomes bland because then it doesn't have a whole lot to say, but it's inoffensive. And I think that for the time period is commendable.
Yeah. One more, Jay.
It's a low bar.
He it took a couple of years and then he made Wolf.
Yeah. Also, shout out Ryan. Bill Nunn wears a San Antonio Spurs jacket at one point.
Go Spurs, go, baby.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jay, Wolf.
Yeah, Wolf. I mean, there's in between. You know what he almost made?
What did he almost make, Jay?
Remains of the Day.
Ooh.
Like he was going to make that movie.
You think that would have
he
worked?
was
I don't think so. I don't know.
probably not. He hasn't done anything sort of that ilk before, but
Yeah.
there's very unfortunate circumstances that ended up with him not making that movie. It was going to be Streep and Jeremy Irons, but
Ooh.
in one of the rudest things he's ever done, he pushed Streep off of the project because she was very, very pregnant, and he was worried that she was going to be overweight when they made the movie. So not cool by Nichols. Even not cooler, he made his agent break the news to Streep as opposed to him doing it himself. Yeah. So it was not awesome. But then you know what he does? He retires. He said, I'm not doing it anymore. He has sort of a stumble on Broadway, and he says, I'm not doing it anymore, but first I'm going to make 6 movies. That was his threat to the industry. He was like, I'm done with this. I hate it. Gonna make 6 more movies, but then I'm done. And he did make 6 more movies, only one of which he actually announced, and it took him like 20 years, but whatever. The only one of those movies that he made that he announced was Wolf, which is bizarre. He said he was going to make A Simple Plan, which became the great Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, it's a wonderful.
He said he was going to adapt Cormac McCarthy's All the Pretty Horses. Obviously that never happened.
Well, no. I mean, somebody else did make that movie.
Yes, but he did not.
But he did.
And then several other projects that never came to be. The only one that he announced that did come to be was Wolf, which to me has shades of Mike Nichols' sort of corporate domestic malaise and anger bubbling underneath that, but it is a pretty crummy monster movie. And I think that is kind of what this movie needed to put it over the top, and it just really didn't. James Spader really stretching himself as an actor, being a creepy, horny guy.
That's like his shtick.
I think he never. I don't think he ever did that before or after. So good for him. But the one important thing about Wolf, I will say, Elaine May was brought on to kind of shore up the script, and that's maybe the biggest. We don't have the Birdcage without Wolf, probably.
Yeah.
So that's worth it. It's worth it.
So shout out Wolf.
Yeah, shout out Wolf.
Yeah.
Eric, bad movie.
Big Wolf guy. Eric?
It's fine. It's whatever. Nicholson is too obvious a choice for it. So there was nowhere really for him to go, especially after Witches of Eastwick. There's just it's too obvious.
Yeah, it's too on the nose. Pfeiffer
But
too.
And that's another one where I don't think Nichols ever realized, like, ever figured out like any sort of attachment to the material or any
No.
thematic thrust to
Felt
what
like a
was
director
going
of
on.
hire sort of thing. Yeah.
This was really a hired gun couple of films for him, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, regarding Henry truly was like, oh my God, if I don't take this movie, I might not get to make a movie again. He had that paranoia sort of throughout his entire career.
But he's had that every now and then and throughout his career where he goes and he makes a bad movie or he steps away for a little bit, makes a movie, it's not very good, gets the juices back, comes back, makes a hit. And then that's what we're here to discuss today.
we
Finally.
are.
Yes, which is the
Yes.
Birdcage.
Oh wow.
And
Took us what, like 2 or 3 minutes?
yeah, we weren't. It
We got
take
into
that
it real
long.
quick.
Yeah, we got into it. This is record time. Eric, the Birdcage. I know this is a movie you watched a dozen times. You told me earlier, and I quote, you could recite this word for word.
A lot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I still use a lot of lines from it. It's something that I revisit. It's honestly at least a few times a year.
Yeah, he does Hank Azaria's accent to me all the
I
time.
I
It's
do
very
I do them
inappropriate.
all. So
Very
well,
inappropriate.
it's
Was Hank Azaria a poo as well?
Yes. Oh no, we're not bringing that up. No, Jay. God damn it, we're not bringing that up. Eric, what do you love so much about the Birdcage?
so backstory on this. This was the first movie that my husband and I saw
Really?
together in a theater when it came out. Oh my
Wow.
God, maybe not even a month after we had met. So it was kind of a big deal.
What did he think of it?
He loved it.
Okay. Well, I mean,
This is a movie that's hard not to love.
hard not
Well,
to love
it's
this movie, right?
you know you have some pretty rigid archetypes, but in a good way. And while I'm obviously very let's just say effervescent, like Albert, uh uh no, but my husband is a little less so, a lot less so. But we definitely we both vibed on how these two could be together and how him and I eventually kind of would be. And I don't know, it was a great way to not see ourselves exactly, but it was that because they were together, at this time in the movie for 20 years, and we were not even a month into a relationship. And in 96, it was like, oh, wow, this is really cool to see outside of everything that's great about the movie. So it definitely, there was an added layer at the time that was sort of working underground. It wasn't something that we were like talking about as a thing to even talk about with the movie, because it was just so funny and that was the focus. But yeah, it's I couldn't possibly love this anymore.
Well, Jay, you don't have probably a sweet story like that to tie into it, but you're here to give the
No.
definitive take on the Birdcage, and so
I'm not doing that anymore. I will
Yeah.
say I'm here to give my own take. I'm
it's pretty
separating myself from the bit at this point.
It's pretty-
Ryan,
it's
what
pretty
was the what
definitive
was
at
what
this
was the
point.
first movie you went to with your wife? We've talked about it before. I can't recall.
It was Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes, the first one.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine
Hey,
was
it can't all be winners. You know what I mean? Like
mine was maybe the straightest movie you could watch on a first date. It was Drive.
It was Drive, and you didn't
We
finish.
left halfway through, or like 2/3 through. When
about 3/4 of the way through, when the
hammer in the when the stomping of the head in the elevator
crunch.
happened.
I
That's
remember
when it
you
was.
telling
Yeah,
me that.
the crunch.
Yeah.
So I didn't see the end of Drive for a while. Really good movie in my opinion. But
Really good
let's talk
movie.
about the Birdcage.
Not a lot of crunches in here, unfortunately.
Not a lot of crunches. This movie is fantastic. I love this movie. I'd seen it before, and I remember when I saw it for the first time, I was talking about seeing it with one of my friends, and she was just like, "Oh my God, you watched The Birdcage? That's my favorite movie of all time." And I was like, "You know
Red
what?
flag.
No, I get it. It's good."
Mm.
That's a red flag. Favorite movie of all time is a red flag. You think that's a
If it's
try
a
hard move?
if it's a girl, yeah. If it's a I
Oh
don't know.
no.
There's some
What's the vibe you're catching from that?
Yeah, Eric, what are you trying to say?
um I
Mm,
Oh.
it's the bridesmaids party at the gay bar vibe, and I'm just like,
Oh, see, I can see that.
I get what you're
It's
I'm
a
saying.
like,
try. It might be
no,
a little bit of a try hard. Um,
Just trying to get like solidarity points is what you're saying, Eric.
mm,
I've had plenty of fag hags in my life.
Yeah, he's just trying
mm.
Or that's in the past.
that girl was trying to actually take the definitive take, and she because it was her favorite movie. But no, Jay, continue.
Yeah, no, it's you know whose writing I adore? Elaine May. Oh my God.
She's pretty good at her
Like
job.
just every 15 seconds someone has some throwaway line that I think is hilarious. It's like the line I said at the beginning from the commercial of the Jay Leno show where it's Yasser Arafat and Kate Moss on the Jay Leno show tonight. That's so funny. They put no punctuation on that whatsoever. It's just sort of in the background entirely. And I think stuff like that is so funny. And Elaine May has this mean streak to her and also this politically charged streak to her. And this is, I think, in the Mark Harris biography of Nichols, he said that this was kind of right before gay culture started to become more mainstream. Eric, you'll have a lot more perspective on that than
No,
I will,
no, he
but
won't.
that
Keep
that that
going.
feels accurate to me. And this does feel like Nichols returning to not necessarily transgressive, because this is in a lot of ways, it's broad. There were a lot of um, activist groups who sort of objected to the representation of some of the characters in this film. Nathan Lane is the only actual character, the only performer of kind of the leads who is actually gay, and
Yeah,
there's
but he
plenty
was but he
plenty to
wasn't
talk about
out.
that front. Right? Yeah, at the time he wasn't out. Um, but
Yeah, Oprah
it's
outed him.
way to go, Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
He probably
What a
introduced Jennifer Aniston and Obama too.
what an ally, Oprah.
But
Mm.
no, this movie I think is funny from start to finish. I think Gene Hackman is doing incredible work. Um, it's really awesome that Hackman, after being fired from The Graduate, came back to Nichols and became one of his great collaborators, kind of later in his career. But one of the things I love most of all is this, I think, is one of the earlier Robin Williams not doing the manic comedy thing in a lot of ways. They talked about the rehearsals of this movie in the Harris biography, and Nichols, and it's so adorable how much he admires Elaine May. But he said, "Look, we're going to do rehearsals. You can ad lib sort of during rehearsals, and Elaine May is going to choose which ad libs make it into the script. And when we go to set, you're doing the Elaine May script. Like the shooting script is what you're going to perform." And for Robin Williams, that was almost like a foreign idea. And so I think that's really cool that he did that. And it is a film that does not insist upon itself. It does not insist on being important. I don't think that is its purpose. I think that is incidental to the movie. But through its themes and through its representation, it did become important. But I think it's hard to, and we've talked about this before, Ryan, I think it's hard to go into a movie saying, I'm going to make an important movie and it actually be important. But you can sort of not stumble into being important, but just sort of naturally become sort of a cultural touchstone, which I think this movie became, and it's a really great film.
Yeah, I mean it's a remake of a very well known play
Remake.
in French film, and but it takes a whole new usually the idea
I have
of
not seen the. Have either of you seen the
Eric,
original film?
you've seen the original,
Oh
right?
yeah, it's genius.
It's
I have not
genius
seen it.
too. Like both of them are, they both have their both
And it came
or
out 20 years
Yeah,
before
Robin
this.
Williams
yeah,
not in that one.
not in that one.
No,
Okay,
it's
all right.
it's it's French,
It's
so
French,
no.
but it has its own.
Robin Williams
Uh,
could probably like ad lib fake French that people would
yeah, I
love.
don't think anybody wants to hear that. Like that was probably like part of his like, comedy stand up bits. Anyway, no, it had its own way of going at this material that was very iconic in its own way. But this also takes on a whole new light when you have somebody like Nichols and May working on it, who are these comedic and I mean, obviously, even kind of just taking out to the Nichols side of this thing. This is really by the end of this movie, it becomes a play. It becomes a one act inside the apartment when everybody sort of meets each other. But I think this movie is amazing, and I always have. I saw it probably way too young when I was about 5 or 6, and just a very funny movie, and one that we watch it like you, Eric. We watch it at least once or twice a year. Just a very agreeable. Everybody loves this movie. There's not, but it's very funny. It's very entertaining. But then you sort of dissect it. You pull it apart and you talk about the story and everything. And it is very for the 1990s, late 90s. Um, Looking at it now, what is it? Close to 20 years, 30 years later at this
30.
point. Um, it's it's quite at times heartbreaking to watch. I mean, the idea of the this young man and who's I mean, obviously he's marrying the daughter of a Republican senator, and they're having to hide or he's having to hide who his parents are, and and what they do and their identity, and speaking to the times that are very hostile and volatile right now. It felt very relevant watching it, and it still is going to feel relevant over times when we have struggle in culture or a political landscape. But then it also just has, like Jay, you mentioned, a joke a second that is able to blend the sincerity and the seriousness of the subject matter as well with just absolute hilarity, and it never lets up. There's never a moment in this movie that feels very dull. There's no fat on this bone. And I love it through and through. And um yeah, I think Williams is great in this. I mean, he's having to play more of the straight man to Nathan Lane in this movie, and who is it's an incredible performance from Lane, who's sort of dancing the line between being extremely over the top and offensive to then at times being very sincere and understand you can understand. Um, why? What are you
I
gonna
think
be
there are
laughing for?
four like awesome performances in this
I
movie.
think Albert's a
Oh,
very complicated character
they're
to pull off, and obviously is taking more of the emotional brunt of Val's request, and it's in having they're both Armand and Val having to navigate, how Albert's going to feel, and it's it's ups and downs throughout it. But I think that Williams is great, just and it's kind of the winking at the dramatic stuff that he's going to do later. When Val looks at him, he says, "You know what, Val? Just don't talk to me for a while." That always hits. But then, like when Albert, you see earlier in the film, Val's sleeping and he goes in there and he's grabbing the clothes and he doesn't wake him and everything. It's just, there's little moments throughout the film where it's just very tender and you can't help but fall in love with these characters. And then you have Gene Hackman and Diane Weiss, who are the epitome of this is a wild pair.
Diane Wiest is absolutely crushing it in this
She's
movie.
killing it in this
Mhm.
movie. And just like watching Gene Hackman just like chomp down on candy the
This
entire
is this
time.
is like top 3 Gene Hackman for me.
Really?
and it's not even it's non-negotiable.
Yeah, he's
I think he is
incredible
so
in this.
perfect in this that it might be my favorite performance. It changes all the time, because
What would you change out? What would
what
the
would
other
I
ones?
change
Yeah,
out?
what
What do
would
you
the
mean?
other ones be?
Like
Well,
what? I mean,
sometimes
Welcome
Nathan
to the
Lane's
Sport?
my favorite performance, and
Oh,
sometimes
I thought you were talking.
oh, that's what you're saying.
Oh, no,
Favorite
no, no.
performance
I
in
thought
the
you were
movie.
talking about
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Hackman. He's your top 3 performance for Hackman.
It is. It is
Okay.
my
Oh,
top
I
three
thought you were, but
for
I thought you were
Hackman.
saying you switch it like out as like
No,
your
no, no.
favorite
I
as
switch around of what is my favorite performance in the film, uh, year to year.
okay.
But yeah, this will always be just absolute god tier for Hackman. Perfect casting. Uh, he understands. He's really the straight man.
Very
Because
much so.
he's not.
Because he's oblivious to everything.
He is, but he's really careful. Even when he's at the most confused, when he finds out the big reveal at the end, and he's just kind of like muttering and stuttering. Even though, yes, he is a Republican villain, even though Val is the real villain in the movie.
No shit. What a fucking
It's
asshole.
it's like Devil Wears Prada. It's Andy's boyfriend's the villain, not Miranda Priestley.
And the son is the bad guy.
Val
Through and
is
through.
the villain here.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Absolutely. For what he's
All
asking
right.
his
I want
parents
to
to
talk.
do.
I want to talk through that a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
you're
I
doing
just
so.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
to say about Hackman. He understands that his character is the Republican villain, but he lets kind of everyone else chew the scenery, and it just allows him to be really funny without trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it makes his character earnest, even though
He's a prick.
if you are a liberal person watching it, everything he believes in and stands by is awful.
But
But
does
his
he even believe in it though? Is the thing, or is
Well,
it all? Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, is he being uh warmed over by the end and
Kind of seems like it.
traversing? Sure, maybe. But I just think he has, it's not a kindness, but I think it is a generosity that Hackman has, that he gives to Keeley, that allows us to kind of keep with him without just being angry at him all the time.
Yeah, I kind of wanted like 20 extra minutes just to see if he was proven right or wrong about the reaction to the announcement and about Armand and just like the reaction to what the wedding would look like and the photos and everything, because like we see what the wedding looks like when you get inside. It's gray and black suits on one side, and then it's very colorful on the other, and the costumes in this movie are absolutely incredible. But
There were times where I was like, this is Almodovar inspired? No, like the apartment I think is sort of so colorful and has such
It's the
vitality
location.
to it.
yeah. It's
But
very much
yes,
the
I mean
location,
that's it's a huge part of it for sure.
But Jay, you were gonna circle back to Eric's point about Val.
Oh, let's talk about Val as the definitive villain. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Oh,
Of course you don't.
of course, Jay. Well,
I mean,
Jay,
this is
You're the
look,
Val of this podcast.
well, Eric,
I'm
this
here
is
to-
the definitive take again.
Oh,
so here it
God.
comes.
Oh, I forgot to bring my bulletproof vest today. Oh, I'm bleeding out.
He was trying to go through this year without anybody, catching some strays on him, and then boy, howdy, there it is. No, plead your case, Jay.
Well, no, I mean so Val is in love with this young lady who, look, they're incredibly young to be getting married in the first place. But if you take that as a given and say they're very much in love with each other and they should be married, and Barbara in and of herself is okay with what's going on, but understands that the perception is kind of the most important thing to get this wedding over the top. And they're trying to perform this ruse. I'm not sure that wanting to get married to the woman you love by I mean, where's the villainy coming into play? The fact that he's trying to cover up his gay parents? Is
Yeah,
that the villainy?
the villainy is asking his well, one, the first act in and itself is almost a villainy because of the fact that like he's asking to speak only with Armand about this and not tell Albert at all and wait for Armand to tell Albert. But then the whole idea of having to change their entire life, hide who they are, then asking the surrogate mother who hasn't been around for 20 years to come back into the fold, and when instead of just being honest, and it doesn't seem like Armand
But
and
if he was
Albert have ever
honest,
held.
they wouldn't get married.
I mean,
Like they straight up would not get married.
sure, but
Call that evil. So the real villain is the real potential villain is Senator Keeley.
well, yes.
He's the villain that they're trying to overcome through not necessarily the methods that they would like. And the real villains of the movie are the journalists.
But it's also the
okay,
it's also
yes,
the way
National
he's saying
Enquirer
it.
and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no, the villainy comes. It's exactly that. You go in thinking that Keeley is the villain because he is Coalition for Moral Order, all of that.
Mhm.
He doesn't know these people. All he is anti-gay. It doesn't matter who they are. He just doesn't like them. The reason why Val is the villain is because he has only known Albert as a parent for his entire life. And there is a level of cruelty
The
in his
erasure of
requests
Albert.
that are to both Armand and Albert that are it's I get the selfishness and the childishness. You know, he's 20 and Barbara's supposed to be 18. I get the selfish childishness of that. That isn't lost on me. But there is a delivery in it from him that is especially cruel. So it isn't help me out. How can we do this? This is how I feel. This is the woman I want to marry. It's right in its face at the beginning. Everything is too gay. You got to change. Albert can't be here. But it's a young person's thing. It is not a well thought out plan.
Is it not
But
temporary cruelty in the name of long-term familial love? Like Barbara wants to be a part of that family in the long term. So as soon as they get over that hill, right, then everything is hunky dory. But I certainly see what you're saying.
I
But
mean,
all-
Barbara is she's like a
She's
you
moldable.
know like a Nixon daughter or a she's
Kennedy
super
girl.
liberal and
Yeah.
she's like cool with everything. It's fine. That's great. The issue isn't that yeah.
I think also too the thing that why Val when I watched it this time and really picked up on the fact that he calls Armand dad, but he calls who he by the end of the film it says that this is my mother. He calls Albert the entire time. And that's what stings. And you can understand Albert's sort of feeling of betrayal is that of the fact that I'm never going to actually be this person's parent. He doesn't even call me mom, even though I've been more of a parent than his own mother, but he wants to get this essentially stranger to come back for a night of play when it's not just going to be a night for one night. It's going to be the way, if it stays the way it is and they have to keep the ruse for a while, that would be the wedding. That would be if they had kids, if they had holidays, it would be this long-standing ruse that just doesn't make any sense rather than just being truthful. And, if you can't, and it goes back to,
But if it's truthful, Barbara gets locked under the stairs, Harry Potter style, and they can't get married.
But see, that's why the act of taking the foundation on Armand's face and smearing it on the wall.
Yeah, that's too.
Cruelty.
Yeah.
And that gives Robin Williams one of his best dramatic retorts in all of that. So I mean, so that's why. I mean, I say it with a certain amount of, irony and comic flair to say that Val is the villain.
Yeah, it's like, I mean,
So-
Jade, do you think Adrian Grenier is the bad guy in Devil Wears Prada?
I think he's the bad guy because he's
Adrian
lacks-
Grenier?
He is completely devoid of any charm.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that's the problem with that movie. Is
Okay.
Well,
yes.
I mean,
Yeah, that's fair. He can make a hell of a grilled
Yeah.
cheese.
fuck that guy.
He looks like
I'll,
he
I'll,
is-
I'll take
he
I'll
is-
take I'll take Val over him any day.
Yeah. for
Oh
sure.
yeah,
Oh,
he's a
yeah.
disaster in that movie, which I otherwise really like. But he
Yeah.
is
Is he going to come back for
the fact that
sequel?
the conclusion of that movie is, oh, I'm going to go back to him and try and sort of be less career centric. And it's like for this
For this guy?
Right.
For Entourage? Yeah. He's going to come back for the sequel, right? No doubt.
Anyway,
Yeah. Maybe Tucci gave him some cooking tips in this for the sequel. Anyway, I'm I think I'm with Eric on this one a little bit. It can be in both. I do think
there is,
but then also-
but to Eric's point, there's sort of this like comedic heightening of the quote unquote villain. It's a
Yes.
complicated dilemma. It's a
then we get-
complicated dilemma.
but then we get like
but I think it's also intentional, and I think
Yeah.
that is a part of why May's writing is so good and Nichols' directing is so good. It's because they both understand that too. They both understand that Keeley is the superficial villain, using quotes, and that Val is the initiator of it.
he's initiating Senator Keeley's practices literally to his gay parents. This sort of, I mean, the fact that it's like 5 books and a cross and these chairs, there's no table. It's like knee to knee. It's as like, you might as well save some room for
The bowls.
Jesus. Yeah, the bowls.
The
Like,
bowls.
it's-
That's so funny.
It is.
I mean,
And
it feels
honestly,
like a
this is
school
this
dance.
is
Yeah.
too much time to even be spending on Val because he's the least interesting character in the entire
Yeah.
film.
He is very much so. But if he doesn't do all this ruse, we don't get the just comedic, back and forth between Lane and Williams. That lunch scene that they have, where he's trying to essentially teach Lane how to be Butch.
I think that gives the funniest line in the whole movie
What is that, Jay?
when Albert asks if his John Wayne walk was any good, and he's doing this very effeminate walk, and Armand's like, actually, it's perfect. I just never realized John Wayne walked like that.
Like a gay
It's so
zombie.
funny.
It's
I can
genius.
always just get more toast. It just makes me laugh every time. It's just
So you
we
pierce the
we
toast.
smear.
Oh my God.
So
Smear.
you pierced the toast. So funny.
Oh, it's so good. It's so many good moments in this movie, guys. Eric, do you have some other favorite moments?
The entire thing is my favorite moment.
Well, then let's go line by line. Let's go.
How about
Well,
the
I
opening
mean-
shot? I mean, come on.
Yeah, talk
Yeah,
about
can-
like
let's-
directorial
let's-
prowess. You know what I mean?
and it's Emmanuel Lubezki.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Chivo, baby.
When you look at the crew for this film
crazy.
too,
It's crazy.
it raises the bar higher and higher.
Those opening credits is like the Vince McMahon meme.
Oh,
Oh!
It was
Yeah.
very funny that this and Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion came out like very close to each other, and both really have that same long from the ocean and beach tracking shot into an apartment.
Yeah.
It was kind of the thing to do.
Yeah. But man, I got to tell you, going back to Hackman real quick, Jay, Hackman's
Yeah.
killing it right now. He is in a zone that like this 90s run from Hackman is an if you look at it from Postcards to the Edge, from the Edge, a couple of years later, well, he's got Class Action in 91. He wins the Oscar for Unforgiven in 92. He's in The Firm in 93. 94, he's in Wyatt Earp. Take it or leave it. 95 is a huge year. That's The Quick and the Dead, Get Shorty, and a movie we talked about last year, Crimson Tide. and this is his follow-up to that year.
He's so good in I mean, we talked about Crimson Tide obviously, but he's so good in The Quick and the Dead. That movie is so good.
It's very good. Do you like Quick and the Dead, Eric?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Well.
Hey, speaking of Gene Hackman, as we're recording this, his birthday's tomorrow.
His birthday's tomorrow. Oh.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Hackman?
Just a time stamp this episode, so I'm not going to say it out loud, but he'll be 95.
95. Gosh.
Yeah.
Jay, what's your favorite Hackman?
My favorite Hackman performance. I mean, it's The Conversation.
It's a conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, it would be The Conversation, but like I said, Birdcage is top 3, so I'd have to figure out what my number 2 or my number 3 is.
For me, it's Conversation, Tenenbaums.
Yeah, probably.
I go
and then
he's incredible.
I mean, he's amazing in Unforgiven.
He's amazing.
But he's given a bunch of. He's amazing in The French Connection. I think he's great in Enemy of the State, Crimson Tide.
I would say, to get back to the Birdcage.
Yes,
I think that
Superman
Tenenbaums is a thread, like a through line to get to his Keeley.
Yeah,
very much so.
Really?
Yeah, I just feel like they're vibing in the same way.
How so? Now that you bring it up,
just
I'm going to make you explain.
With a level of pretension and cluelessness about it.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
Still making them incredibly appealing characters.
Yeah.
It's like being performatively off-putting the characters themselves while having this underlying appeal to them. Mm-hmm. I think is sort of the through line between those characters. And he's so good at that because, I mean, just look at him. He looks like a jerk.
Yeah.
And then he's also so capable of such like
he's mostly always
emotional honesty.
Yeah, he's always usually playing rough-edged guys. You know what I mean? Or people.
Yeah, for a hardcore conservative, he isn't rough-edged, but
no,
because May gives him these punchlines that are so fantastic, and it's only because he's met at the exact same place by Wiest or Lane that he can pull it off. When him and Wiest are having conversation at the dinner table, and she's talking about Bob Dole, and his line "too liberal" is just fucking hilarious.
That's just like that's Elaine May
at the time. I mean, we have to think about the time too. I mean, the split and separation of liberal and conservative was not quite what it is now.
No, it is not the gap that it is
to the extremes. But I mean, yeah, Dole was very, very on the right, obviously, compared to Clinton. But looking at the whole concept of the coalition of moral order, yes, Bob Dole would have been liberal that's on that spectrum. And it's funny, and it's one of the things that is so great about the script is that it doesn't need to shoot for the stars for its comedy, because it just feels possible. Even when it's absurd, it feels completely possible.
Yeah, I mean, he's also played as a giant buffoon and a big idiot, like at the same time. His policies are the most dangerous thing about him.
He's got such a crush on Albert too.
He's got
goes
big crush on
Doubtfire.
And then Diane Wiest being like just completely jealous at the fact that that he's like attracted to this woman who is essentially just spoon feeding him whatever he wants.
I don't even know who you are.
I don't even know who you are. But like,
they don't make women like that.
But like
anymore.
But him, like the fact that like, he's got this moral like bullshit high ground, sort of coalition that he's put together. And yet at the first sign of any trouble, he's in the chocolate box. He's climbing out of windows. He's paranoid out the yin yang about everything. He's a giant buffoon and a giant idiot. And then like going back to your point earlier, Eric, what's so great about it is like he becomes sort of slimy at the end, right? When Christine Baranski sort of shows up and you can see him then flip it on why he is revered as like, as why they had to put on this whole shtick. And, he
I don't know if it's that. It's just that everything that he thought was
right.
So challenged.
Yeah.
No, he was being challenged in that moment. And it is such a great.
But he did kind of have a hunch about it. Like there's hints in the film where
they keep talking about, oh, this is something feels wrong.
Something feels wrong.
Whatever,
but but they're like, here's the shiny thing over here, and he's a buffoon, so he goes and sees the shiny thing. But then what's so great is, and what's like the best part of Hackman's performance is when he gets Barbara away from the door and they're about to walk out, and he goes, but if I could really use your vote during.
Oh yeah, that's so funny.
I mean, it's so.
I hope this doesn't impact your vote.
I hope it doesn't have impact your votes, and hope I can count on
the
you.
delivery there is unbelievable.
So perfect.
Yeah.
And then when he opens the door, slams it, and it's just like once again he becomes like a turtle in his shell. That's what he is. Is like he sees his shadow, and it's 6 more weeks of winter for this guy. And
I know we're spending an awful lot of time talking about Hackman, which I obviously makes sense on this podcast. It seems like something that you guys would like to do.
Excuse me.
So
we are not going to take any sort of stereotyping.
And I know I'm just a guest here.
No, you
don't need to stereotype. You're already there. You're already there.
I got rid of my backwards hat, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he took it off. I didn't even notice that.
It was a big relief for me when that left my view. But the final thing I do want to say on Hackman is how much I love his drag performance, and
yes,
wanted to see like 30 more minutes of it.
Yeah, totally.
He looks like Phyllis Diller,
maybe. Yeah,
he looks like he's having a blast.
I don't want to be the only girl not dancing. Oh my god, come on, incredible.
He also, like, okay, to be fair with all this, with the character, if this was like politically now, I don't think that character would compromise like that, which kind of it seemed like it would have to take a lot to get him out of there.
Probably not, but it's really depressing that you can watch this movie and everything that it's talking about, and it's not an archive, because we're still there, and even in a much worse way than I think we would have anticipated in 96, because things were on this very liberal progressiveness. So I think sometimes we get caught up.
It got better and then it got worse.
Absolutely. And that's kind of the way of the world.
Yeah, but it was
accordion.
Exactly. But like what's so great about this scene, with that scene, is like then when the facade is off and they have a second to sort of just digest one another, and they come up with this plan and sort of ideal, like, and you see, we haven't even talked about Hank Azaria, which we'll talk about that in a
That's
minute.
why we're like an hour in.
We got plenty.
We
got plenty of people to talk about.
Yeah,
My God, we have so much.
We can talk about Agador here in a
and
minute.
Diane Weiss drag.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Oh, she is great.
It's like Amelia Perez Manitas drag. I love it. It's incredible.
No.
Yep.
Jay, you still haven't seen Amelia.
First time for everything.
Haven't checked out Amelia.
When are you gonna do it?
Probably tonight.
Probably. No, you're not gonna do it tonight.
I don't know.
Whatever. Such a liar. You need
we still got 2 hours of this pod left. I'm probably not gonna fit it
in. No, but like I love that he's actually, by that time, because he's so focused on the optics of everything, he's weirdly comfortable listening to all of them, and they weirdly, by this moment of trying to get him out the door and everything, weirdly become a family. It's a bond. It weirdly becomes a bonding moment. And yeah, he's super like into Albert, because like when Albert walks up to him and he's not in drag, he's like, gonna have this dance. He's like, they're trying to figure out who's going to be the lead there, and it's hilarious. And then yeah, I mean, he looks super comfortable. He doesn't look angry that that the kids are getting married at the end, he looks like he's accepted it.
Well, I think there's probably a little certain amount of Stockholm syndrome that that Keeley is going through, having been, locked up with
duped
these queens and fags for 24 hours.
Yeah,
but it does also speak to kind of the reality of everything. Like, how many politicians who are like, gay marriage is never going to happen, it's completely evil. Senator so and so caught in an airport bathroom, like the men's bathroom at the airport.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah.
Well, even
so it's all a facade. Like
the argument of the Democrat. I can't believe we're doing it like this, but here we are.
This is true.
Has kind of often been specifically to something that has to do with gay people or whatever, is that we will say things like, well, if you have a family member that might change your mind. If you know somebody or spend some time with somebody, that might change your mind. And that is literally the premise of the whole movie.
Our family
is just challenging your belief because you believe something from afar, not up close in any type of familial way that could alter your perspective. It's the whole concept of the movie.
See, Adam McKay, this is how you do Vice. You know what I mean?
Or right? Don't Look Up, or anything he's ever done.
No, I'm just saying because of Dick Cheney, he was.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right. So, who's your favorite performance in the film right now? Yeah, anybody, both of you.
Erik.
So I just rewatched it 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's actually always on a running loop at his house.
It's kind of always there. I think I was back on the Hank Azaria train again.
Really?
Yeah. It is.
Isn't that like? But is it controversial to like that performance?
I don't give a fuck.
Me either. But I'm just saying.
I don't care. The origins of that character were even more potentially problematic.
Well, like,
yes. He's going to be a black butler. It was originally going to be possibly Adrian Lester, who would be in Mike Nichols' next movie as the lead, or David Alan Grier. And the David Alan Grier of it all would have been coming right off of In Living Color and having to do that extreme gay character that he does on that, which is super funny. I love men on film.
Yeah, me too.
But there wouldn't have been anything. It would have been such a kind of like an easy, lazy jump.
It would have been a very big stereotype
for audiences. So I think Hank Azaria is beyond funny.
Super
no one really kind of, at least at the time,
performances
had the vocal range of characters that he did, and I can't get enough of Agador Spartacus. Like anytime. You're afraid of my Guatemalanness.
You want to put me in the show?
Oh my God.
It's so good.
He's
also looking
when he's talking about his parents.
Movie,
they're so stupid. Oh my God. There is not like a single second of him, whether it's how he is standing, putting his finger in his mouth. He is the biggest idiot of anybody.
The shoes.
Why are the shoes even
so funny
sizes too large? Go get shoes that fit. It doesn't matter. It's funny.
Yeah, so good, so funny. Jay,
oh my God,
your favorite
character? I think my favorite performance this time was Robin Williams. I just think he has obviously this unmatched energy, but also a softness to him. And when he was great, there's this soft tenderness to him that I just think just speaks volumes of every character that he plays, and just lends a kind of viability to the empathy of his best movies and his best performances. And I think he's great. he does have, in addition to having that super high energy, he is very capable of delivering kind of that dry Elaine May throwaway line that is actually like one of the most venomous things you've ever heard. Sensibility that she has. I just think he's incredible. But you could honestly pick 5 people that are the best performances in this movie, and I think they're all valid. But
Williams has
this watch, I was leaning towards Robin Williams.
He's got one of my favorite lines of the movie. Fuck the shrimp. Like it's just
everything around that scene, accidental and intentional, is amazing. And the choice to keep the take that has Dan Futterman breaking, and it has Robin Williams breaking, and keeping it and just letting it go is there. Sometimes that just, it will never work. It's rare that it does. And there's something about it. It's like watching SNL and watching a character break.
No, there's just something also too, like,
and you're with them. You're with them on it. It couldn't keep happening. You couldn't have 10 different scenes that have characters breaking. Then it would suck.
And what's so funny
is you have that one, and then you have a release as a viewer that makes you laugh even more than you are.
Exactly. I just love his reaction when Nichols puts the camera on his face, when his head's just on the fridge or on the wall, and he goes, "It didn't make an entree." And it's just,
oh, what interesting china! It looks like young men playing leapfrog.
Somebody get my glasses. I think you left them in the car.
It is an entree. It's a stew.
It's a stew. It's so good. And just, I love everyone at the same time grabbing the bread when after they taste the stew and everything, because it just looks and sounds terrible.
Something I've maybe just haven't followed up on in readings post the film, because I know that Robin Williams was originally sought for the Albert role, and he didn't want to do it because of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
But then,
do you know who they wanted for Armand, Ryan?
Oh, I do.
Who did they want?
Steve Martin.
Oh, geez.
Because Nichols had just done a play with Martin and Robin Williams.
Oh, God, that would have been horrible.
Martin volunteered. He was like, "This is not. I'm not good for this."
Well, he said he wouldn't be able to have the camp value, and I was like, "That's super cool."
Yeah, shout out Steve Martin, cool guy.
But he went on and did like the Father of Bride movie, so that he got to make like his romantic comedy.
But in thinking about what Nathan Lane does with Mrs. Coleman,
that's why this is
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Robin Williams having to sit there and watch Lane essentially a Mrs. Doubtfire performance. I'm fascinated, and I should have done more research before coming on. If he, I know he talked about it before, but not like a reaction or feeling like, oh my gosh, this feels like
honestly
sort of what I just did, and would I have done it exactly the same?
It is really interesting, though, that he is playing the Armand, because Armand is essentially the creator and the writer of all these of the show that they're doing.
Yes,
and everything. And then Albert is the conduit for the dream. So he's the performer, right?
Yes.
And so it is very interesting that Williams, the performer, is now more of the creator of this performer, and that performance is then literally personified in the second act of the film, with Albert fully playing a Robin Williams character, like you're saying. And it's an incredible performance, but he's also extremely kind of playing, he's over the top the rest of the way throughout the film too. And he's it feels like a version that over the time that Armand and him sort of established the Birdcage and everything, he was able to find that, and then has sort of morphed Albert into who he is over this time period as well too, a little bit. And that's what makes their collaboration so interesting. And that scene where he's having to direct, right, and the guy with the gum,
sweetie, you're wasting your gum.
It's just like the incredible,
so good. Yeah, it's so funny
because at that point Williams hasn't really shown it yet, but like he could be it if he wanted to be this, and he is that kind of performer, and that's what's so great about him playing Armand is that it's the tightrope between he's not the performer, but he can if he has to, and he can be loud or he can scream just like Albert can over the time, like when the champagne comes out and he's super nervous and he screams,
Yeah.
it sounds just like Albert. It does, and so the parallels of also living with your partner and the mirroring of each other over time, it's literally there. But then to Jay's point, he has a bus stop scene here, which is very similar to like a rest stop scene that he has. Like literally a year
visually
later.
engaging scene too. It's
Yeah.
like it could have just been two people on a bench, but then they have this like giant freighter behind them.
I
for
know.
no reason. It's just
But
like
but
such
just
a
and also
compelling
too as
visual.
with in the whole South Beach of it all, it's that bright canary yellow.
Yeah, the pink and,
and
yellow.
And like the teal. And
but
then,
it is, I do love that Robin Williams is having to play the restrained second fiddle
yeah.
to somebody where
Mhm.
really in any other thing, it's him. He is the centerpiece.
It's a Robin Williams movie.
But
yeah,
the idea
and you have these moments where in that dance rehearsal where the Williams that we know,
Fosse.
Yeah, and that's something he worked ad-libbed in rehearsal that made it through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that it did, because it is that there is something about that scene that speaks to Armand having to probably having to have stifled himself so that Albert could be the performer this whole time. And it's like escaping him.
Yeah. Because you could
but
see
then
it
but
too.
then there is that in that Fosse scene. I believe he did his whole Robin Williams big thing, the genie from Aladdin thing. And then I think the punctuation on that scene was written was the recommendation was given by May and/or Nichols, where it's like Fosse, Madonna, but you keep it all inside. And it's just like that's
perfect.
The punctuation there I think is just so key to that entire sequence and key to this movie in general.
It is a meta moment right there.
But he then gets to also have his sort of like big Albert thing too, because like when Albert wants to go home and they're still having done cleaning the apartment, and that's when also the Williams sort of comes out too with like, oh, my leg, my knee, and then there's the point
I
where
hurt my thing. What the fuck?
And but also on the stairs, the best part of it is when he's on the stairs and he turns back. So like, we got to go to the hospital and the limp is gone. And then he turns back around and the limp is back. It's brilliant. It's just brilliant. But it's like, it's this great balance between sincerity and hilarity. And that's what Williams was so kind of great at, because then like what I was trying to say is like the bench scene, it's so tender between these two and like clearly over the top. And he's very like at this point, just fed up with the whole thing, sort of angry about it and just tired. You can feel that as by this point, Armand is very tired. And it's really just interesting, like 2 years or a year later, just oppose it to his dramatic work that he's going to do, literally win an Oscar for, and do, I know you're going to, whatever. But to the point is that if you can take two isolated scenes from one's career, literally jam-packed within that time, and even at the end of Mrs. Doubtfire too, and it's just how he's able to slowly get you to buy in and fall for these characters. And it can be either in a comedy or it can be in a drama. He had just really a great way to get you to fall in love with characters. And it didn't always have to be extreme or over the top. And I think that the thing that makes Williams so great in here is those little moments like you're talking about, Jay, or you've talked about, Eric, or I've talked about, where it's when Williams is quieter.
Way to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, I waited.
Did he win? Did he win for Good Will Hunting?
Yeah, he did, buddy.
He's good in that movie.
He's a good movie.
It's not your fault.
Not your fault.
Oh,
not your fault.
Not your fault.
I hate that scene.
No,
it's not your fault.
It's not. But Eric, it's not your fault.
I will say, I'm sure any therapist watching that movie was like, "Oh my god, what is this?
It isn't his fault." Yeah,
it is his fault.
No, they're probably like, this guy should get his license taken away.
100% that exactly.
No, but I think my favorite performance is Elaine. I think he's the best.
So in the real world, Lane is always the best.
Yeah, he's always the best one.
Always.
But I don't know. I'm with you, Eric. Azaria is insane in this movie.
Dancing to Gloria Estefan.
Come on, Gloria.
Forget about it. With the wig, get it. I'm a Luciana Reiki.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Ridiculous.
So
the best.
You know what Nathan Lane is great in?
What?
Beau is Afraid.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was incredible in that movie. A movie I don't love, but I thought he was
He's
awesome.
kind of fun.
He's also great in Dix the Musical, also a movie that is not great.
Yeah,
he's great.
he's really good in that. Yeah. What does he have? He has like a pet something.
The Disgusting Brothers. They're two like sewer dwellers.
Yes.
Sons.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't know.
Disgusting.
Oscar expert and Brother Bro.
Oh my god, we're not throwing shade at people.
They're coming on the next episode.
Oh no, that's awkward. I love them.
We kid, of course.
I love them.
Something wrong with you. Can't
I
get
know.
one show without throwing somebody under the bus. I also think Baranski is very good too for her minor role as well. And that scene of seduction with her and Robin Williams.
It's a great scene, really and the dancing and the singing, wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful moment.
Of course, Mike Nichols, man of the stage, would want to get a Broadway legend, Christine.
Yeah, he'd worked with her before.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, guys. Anything else you want to mention? Did we haven't finished this, obviously, for sure.
I mean, I honestly could just do like 15 favorite lines from this movie because
yeah, for sure.
It is that kind of movie.
Yeah.
Where I'm just laughing every 20 seconds from an Elaine May line. I think it is one of the best written comedies of the last 30 years. I really do.
Jay, you know what other movie Williams had that came out this year? In 96?
I don't know. Honestly, I have in a movie that is a Robin Williams movie, I have little patience for his unfiltered thing.
Yeah.
But I think when
are you usually allergic to that?
A little bit, in the same way that I'm allergic to the Jim Carrey thing.
Yeah, you're not as big on the 90s comics as you are.
No, I have an aversion to that a little bit.
You're more of the Will Ferrell.
I was the Apatow era.
Ben Stiller? Where do you rank is that part of it?
Ben Stiller is sort of like Dodgeball, that kind of era. Yeah. But even that stuff, I mean, looking back, I'm kind of like, you guys couldn't have like maybe put a little bit of a script together, maybe blocked this a little bit.
So what's the line for you between a shtick and a trademark? Because I think like what you're talking about, Williams has both. Jim Carrey, both.
He's got a brand.
And it was always very difficult for either of them to not dip into it. And obviously that is completely evident here in the Birdcage for Williams, where he can't play it straight for too long. That genie literally comes out of the bottle.
Well, it's a balance, right? Where, I mean, genie coming out of the bottle. I think he's great in Aladdin because it's a cartoon where I'm like, it calls for that, but this is the perfect balancing act. I think really what it is, and I've talked about feeling the same way about Meryl Streep movies, where like Florence Foster Jenkins, I think, is an abomination because it is a Meryl Streep movie first. And I think when these actors are willing to give themselves over more to the material and more to the filmmaker, I think that's when they really thrive. And Jim Carrey pretty much failed to find a balance. It was either Eternal Sunshine or Bruce Almighty. Like they were he lived on two polar opposites. Yeah. I think Robin Williams was able to find more of a balance.
Yeah.
Which is why I love Robin Williams. I think he had a lot more great work in him, although clearly he was ill in, I think, multiple ways. But he was a great performer. I would say definitely if there is a Carey performance that finds that balance, it's the Truman Show. That's kind of the avenue where I think he works best. I don't need whatever, like the Grinch, like that's not my Jim Carrey. Even Dumb and Dumber, I'm like, just chill out a little bit.
Well,
Ace Ventura, chill out a little bit.
Well, you know what movie that Williams did find, I think that balance that you're talking about, Jay, was this movie I was going to mention from 96, which is Eric's favorite movie of all time, which is Jack from Francis Ford Coppola. Came out this year.
That was 96. I thought it was a little later than that.
No, buddy. This is 96. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does the balance in Good Will Hunting, right? I mean, that's.
Well, I mean, like there's even
not really.
No,
it's
he's
not much
doing
of a
like
balance.
the farting and the whatever.
It's just a fart joke. He's not actually farting himself. He's just talking.
I know it's a joke. It's a joke though, right? It's like a fart joke.
I don't know. It's a little try.
But then he can do like
he can be literally.
He was more willing to go dark. Like World's Greatest Dad. That movie is wild. But I think he was much better at tapping into that darkness, which I think I really appreciate, and also more willing to give himself over to a film rather than overwhelming a film.
I think that's sort of like
later in his career.
That's the sort of, like I would say that's kind of like Dead Poet Society, where he has.
I love Dead Poet Society. I will defend that movie with my life.
No, I love it too, but I think that's where it really sort of.
But it's not him; it's everybody else that's good. So.
Yeah, well, no, he's good in the film too. Like
he's fine.
Everybody's good in that movie.
Carpe Diem.
Everyone else is better.
Another Peter Weir
sees the day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, that's the Robin Williams corner of it. I never could get into his his stand up. I was that either.
I love his stand up, especially the cocaine era of it. It was the best.
It was. It was
fucking great.
If not, even if I don't always find it very, very funny,
but I
find it to be very impressive.
Yeah, because it's
relentless.
I didn't really find it like too funny, but I was more about like the fact that he would be up there for an hour and just go, or when he would be on like late night shows and he would just go, and that speaks to what you're talking about, Jay. With him, it's just like it had to be a lot to be on all the time, and so Nichols
cocaine,
sort of reining it in.
But he's that classic example of like Tears of a Clown, right? Like in hindsight, that was his whole thing, which is why I think he could tap into that darkness and doing Terry Gilliam movies and stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly. Where's Futterman right now? Why doesn't he have why isn't he working with Bennett Miller making another movie, for Christ's sake?
That's a good question.
Because you know that, right, Jay?
I know what.
That Val is Dan Futterman, who wrote.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Foxcatcher. Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, he's like a guy.
He is a guy.
Yeah.
He's doing like television shows, it looks like right now. But yeah. Okay, guys. Anything else on the Birdcage? Y'all want to say some quick lines before we start wrapping this up?
I mean, see, the lines are very funny. Robin Williams saying how Egyptian is fucking hilarious, but it's also punctuation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, with that, in that scene with the dancer and all of that, the way Nathan Lane punctuates, he blew a bubble with his gum while I was singing. And it's I don't know. You have to have something in you to be able to pull that off with such sweeping security in the vocal calisthenics that it takes to have a voice that gay. It just you just have to, you really have to be there and commit. And the way that Lane is committed and free,
and Azaria,
yes, but differently.
Yeah,
differently. Because no matter how fun and convincing Azaria is, there is always the veil that he's,
Yes.
as an actor is not really gay. And that is a whole much larger conversation that we are not going to have today.
All right, let's
But-
start it. Let's
But we
fire it up.
could, but we could. But for me, it's why Lane's performance just has the extra juice that is needed, because it's already in his blood. It's already there.
Looks like their usual at that restaurant is like it looks like a toast point with like just lettuce and tomato. That's their usual when they go to the restaurant there. It's weird.
What, the cafe where they're
Yeah.
practicing
Yeah.
the masculinity?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looked like a
I'm not sure I would
eat.
eat at the nightclub, at the Birdcage,
No,
that steak on the
Is
floor.
the show at the Birdcage that good?
It
seems like it's put together.
I think
Like,
it's actually pretty good. That's a lot of queens for one small stage, though.
they
So
must be no. They
that's a
must
lot
be,
of egos and a lot of just physical. That's a
well, the
lot.
Kennedys are showing up. RFK's
Well, yeah,
got to
but
be there.
just the kids.
Give
just
them
the
coffee.
kids.
Well, RFK's got to maybe like come around here.
He might be there. Yes,
Birdcage.
but it's actually a pretty good drag show.
Yeah. Okay.
One of Madonna's dancers from the Blonde Ambition tour is one of the queens.
What kind of soup is it again?
It's peasant stew.
It's peasant stew.
It's peasant stew.
But it's like as they say, it's like a sweet and sour sort of
Sweet
thing.
and sour seafood soup.
That sounds like one of the worst things you could ever serve somebody.
No, it's probably vile.
Yeah.
So
Well, they shouldn't have entrusted him with the
That was
with
their
the meal.
number one mistake. You should have just got it catered out. Always have it
I,
catered.
I get perfect line delivery when Val asks him, "You can cook." Your father seems to think so. Get
One
the
of my-
fuck out of here.
I'll say one of my favorite deliveries is from Diane Wiest when they're watching the replay of his like debate show thing, and she's like, "It's a wonderful show."
It's like Crossfire, right? It's like, oh my god, oh, it's so good. Do you guys have like a food obsession? Like it looks like a comfort food that like Senator Keeley, when he's stressed out or whatever, he has the chocolate. It's like nonstop. He's got like the bars in the car. He's got like, they literally had to get him some at Armand's. Like, do you guys have a go-to food for that, Eric?
Oh man, so it's got to be really portable.
I guess so, but it could just be like something that like comforts you in a time of stress. It seems like
Liquid or solid? What are we?
it can be either
talking
one
about here.
I mean, for you, I know it's like a nice martini, but
It'd be gin or potato chips.
ooh,
Mm.
what kind? Just like regular potato chips or any flavor?
I will pretty much eat almost any, and I will absolutely slum and like eat a whole can of Pringles. I will totally do that.
I do love when we've gone to Telluride and we've gotten those pickle chips. Those are like the bomb.
I
Or like
just
something-
ate a jar of the Pringles pickle chips.
Oh, they're so good. Or
2
just like
days
a
ago.
salt and vinegar or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of over salt and vinegar.
I just
It's
like
had
I just
had
like,
its run.
I just like
Mm.
a tang to it. I don't want like
The
just
salt and
regular
vinegar
chip.
era is over.
It
Yeah.
really is over. Sorry,
Okay.
England.
It's so Jover.
God damn it.
For me, if I'm like in stressed out mode, margarita for the liquid for sure.
Ooh,
And
not a
then-
mojito.
No, Mark. I'm going
But
Mark.
I thought you were.
I am a fiend for mojitos, but
Thank you very
I'm
much.
gonna go. My A1 is gonna be a Mark.
Okay.
And if I'm doing like my like what the hell is going on with my life
Mm-hmm.
but phase, I'm going cookie dough, man. Like I'm
Ooh.
bottoming out and I'm just eating straight up cookie dough.
From like the tube, or
Like the squares.
like the squares. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty age appropriate. I think I remember when I was your age, cookie dough was pretty huge from, I don't know, even childhood.
Well, you were around when it was invented.
Anyway,
I agree with you, Eric. Though, like potato chip, or like a chip and salsa is never a bad thing.
I would say,
I
chip
like
and queso in a marg. Just go to a
chips by
Mexican restaurant.
I just by themselves. I like chips by themselves.
I like a little salsa every now and then. I like something heat though. I really love like a chocolate covered pecan or like there's these ones that my wife gets they're like sugary and
Well, if we're talking
cinnamon.
that, then it's Sour Patch Kids for me.
I was
well,
gonna
you
say Sour Patch Peaches.
Oh yeah, he loves the peaches. I like the strawberries.
I love all of them.
I just
Watermelons,
peach and strawberry,
Mhm.
and that did not last long.
Eric loves.
I'm a gummy boy.
I'm
Yeah.
gummy. I don't
Yeah.
like chocolate.
No,
I
he's not a
like
big
gummy
chocolate.
and sour.
And then you like
and-
vinegary.
Yeah,
you like-
and vinegar.
yeah.
I'm bitter, sour,
Yeah, he's
vinegar, all of
big
that.
time.
Negronis. Give me
Negronis.
Camparis and Aperol. Bitter, like
Give
my
me-
soul.
Yeah, give him a dry
Gin.
martini and like 3 olives.
Exactly.
Get 'em-
No
get 'em-
olives. No,
Oh, you like olives?
I don't. I love olives, but not in a martini.
No, I
No.
thought you like last time when we went and had some. I thought you got like a couple.
That's when I'm like experimenting and feeling like.
All right, I get it.
lovely
You
and
guys
all
hang
that.
out all the time. Okay. You guys are best friends.
Well, Jay, are you still going to come if your team makes the Final Four?
That's in San Antonio, isn't it?
Yeah, buddy.
I'll try and figure that out.
I know you.
What's
will.
that? Is that like a
It's a
Ball game?
March Madness basketball tournament.
It's
sure?
it's actually it's a tournament where thousands of people get together to decide what their favorite performance in the Birdcage is.
Oh, I love that.
In an arena. Yeah. It's like
In arena. Okay, sure.
It's called Gay Pride anywhere in America.
Wow.
What the hell are you talking about? Don't need a tournament to figure that out. Jay,
Yes.
before we get out of here, we're going to test your award season knowledge based on the film we just reviewed, The Birdcage. In a segment we like to call It's an Honor to Get Nominated. Now, Jay, you've been on a good roll of late, getting most of these.
This one's going to be interesting. I'm not,
He's going to fail so hard on this. I predict it.
Jay, was The Birdcage nominated for any Academy Awards?
See, I am of two minds about this film. One is it was maybe a little too progressive for its time and people kept it at arm's length. And the other thought is it was sort of capturing a certain moment or the early stages of some sort of movement. And honestly, the cynic in me says it was the former. So I am going, I'm going to say it got nothing below the line. So just correct me there. Is that right or wrong?
You're incorrect.
Oh my God.
You're
So
not
what
going to
could this
get
have
it.
gotten below the line? Costumes?
No stooms.
Editing?
No editing. We did kind of talk about this in a way.
Did it get cinematography?
No. But
We should have gone more into it.
yeah, we should have got more into that.
But maybe we
specific-
can in
yeah,
just a moment.
in just a moment. Yeah.
What am I missing?
Well, I didn't want to go too far into it because then it would have spoiled it for him.
Yeah, believe
Yeah,
me,
you
whenever
got
I'm
it.
on this show to not talk about the
Pardon.
awards elements,
I don't
of
want
things
people to not
is so hard.
concentrate on not doing that. You can do it. This is
No,
It's hard not for him. He owns an awards website.
I know that's
We're
what I'm saying.
saving
I'm
it for
saying I'm
now.
saying do it. Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
want to
his
spoil.
I look like a total dolt. I'm gonna
No,
say
I don't want to spoil the game for you.
It's his
Oh my
restraint.
God.
It's his
No,
way. of being
I am
Robin
I am
Williams.
absolutely flummoxed by this one. I don't think it got any acting nominations.
That's correct.
Okay.
Which is bullshit.
Not a best picture, not a best director.
Nope.
So it got something below the line. Not score,
Nope.
not song. Was there a
Nope.
song?
Nope. There wasn't a
I
song.
don't think there was a song.
We Are Family did not count. The Oscars had to.
What am I forgetting? Category production design?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. There we go. It was sort of the Almodovarian aesthetic that I sort of brought up for
And the look of the birdcage and the taxis outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
the apartment.
The apartment.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
and the colors. It's South Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Literally
use
the kitchen.
Carlisle.
Oh,
Yeah,
Was
so
that
nice.
its only nom?
That is its only nom.
Wow.
disgusting.
But Eric,
Mhm.
it did win something pretty great during that season, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of what in the era of fewer precursors and things like that. Yeah, it was a really big hit with the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
And Nathan Lane got nominated, Hank Azaria got nominated, and the film won the
SAG
ensemble cast.
Yeah.
And that for a very, very long time, kind of, even though this was the beginning, very beginning of SAG, which started in 94, this is 96.
Started in 95.
No, it started in 94.
This is the second winner. It's the second winner. Apollo.
They added it.
Oh, they did?
The SAG Awards. The SAG Awards were 94.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this category.
They added this category.
I'm sorry. Why
You
should I
just
correct
got you got
I just got awards watch.
the 10
You got awards watch.
rejected.
Oh my god.
No.
God.
Oh my god. No, but one of the crazy things about this win is that it sort of existed for decades.
Oh, it's like people's excuse.
Yeah, that it was able to win this and then get no above the line and no acting nominations. And it just was sort of this unicorn for so long. As long as it was sort of the same one where you couldn't win Best Picture if you didn't have a SAG cast nomination, kind of a thing, until that really broke open.
Yeah. No. I just remember reading that. I think we talked about it a while back or something on another show. But I was doing research for another show that we were doing, and I saw that and I was like, oh, that's such a great winner.
It's one of the best winners in the history of SAG for this
easily.
award.
Oh yeah, easily.
Let me ask you this as awards folk.
Well, you're the
well, no, this is something I'm curious
the
about
best of us
because
all.
to me it makes it less interesting. The number of precursors.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
It's a lot.
You're saying like the
And
guilds,
it sort of it
you're
almost
saying-
makes it. How many of the Oscar categories are you confident that you could bold underline winner of this category?
like
this
right
year?
now?
Yeah. Because we've had most of the precursors now.
The time of recording.
No, we've only had
Time
one,
of-
really. We've
Yeah,
only
that's
had one.
Time of recording. We have not had the Oscars yet.
We have not had
No,
the Oscars.
we've only had the Golden Globes. We haven't had SAG. We haven't had
No
Critics'
SAG.
Choice. We haven't
Right,
had
you're right.
BAFTA yet.
No. By the time this is releasing, we will be a week away from the Oscars.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
even take that away. We're not nearly as far along as I thought because I'm a dumb idiot.
No, you're fine. But like at the time of recording this, I mean, like this will really age it. I think that there's like maybe 3 or 4, right?
Oh,
So
I
if
mean,
we're-
I would say right now I'm
3 or 4 of all
I'm-
the categories.
I'm
think
dead
it's a lot more
confident.
than that.
I'm confident in director, supporting actor, supporting actress,
That's 3.
uh,
I'm not confident in the screen.
foreign film. I'm confident in song.
I'm not confident in foreign film.
I'm not. I said I am, not
Oh,
you.
sorry. Oh,
I am.
well,
a
he
good
asked
point.
us.
Confident
Well, he
in
asked
it.
us. How about that, sweetheart?
I'm pretty confident in costumes and production design.
Dooms.
Yeah, I'm probably confident in half right now.
Eric, we don't call
Before.
them costumes around here.
Yeah, that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
I know. It's very
Can you say it just one
broy.
time? Can you say
It's
just
a
one time
little
for us?
it's a little broy for the Birdcage podcast. You're
Yeah.
trying to Nathan Lane me, and I'm here wearing pink socks. You
I
know
think-
what? With
I
the
think-
hats,
I think
with the hats.
I think you should say Stooms, and I'll take off the hat. How about that?
Jay absolutely looks like somebody that called me a fag in high school, and Ryan looks like fucking Kevin Smith.
I
that's
truly
mean.
I truly
mean.
cannot catch a break on this podcast.
Nope.
It is like
Damn.
I need to stop doing video.
Jay
is what I
just
need
threw
to
me
do.
in a locker.
God damn it. All because we wanted him to say Stooms.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
throw it out here. I'm gonna throw it out here. Demi Moore's winning actress.
Oh, yeah, I feel confident in that too. Yeah.
What are you, my dad on a phone call the other night? Like,
Yeah, no, I
literally,
feel
everybody's been
confident in
saying
that too.
Everybody in my house are like, she's gonna win. And like, I'm like, why? And they go, well, because she's probably really good in the movie, and because everyone's gonna feel bad for her.
Because she's probably very good in the movie.
Well, because
She
they
is
haven't
very
seen the
good in
film.
the movie.
Well, they
Yeah.
haven't seen the film.
I'm telling you, the substance is.
It's like the Saltburn. You've been saying that to.
Yeah, I said it's the Saltburn of 2024.
Yeah,
the
all
the
kids
youths,
love it.
the youths are
youths
eating
love
it up.
Yeah,
Except Saltburn got 0 nominations.
Yeah,
that's true.
But as far as the youths,
in terms
The
of
youths.
the impact to the youths, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm confident in director and supporting actress. Yeah, probably Stooms. Song.
so director is going to be who, the Thunderbirds guy?
I think you mean the mysterious skin guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
Thunderbirds. Oh my god.
that kind of. Oh, it's sound.
I think my
Sound,
Nora
yeah.
early picture bet is going to fall flat, unfortunately.
You think so?
Unfortunately,
You've been pretty confident around this. Maybe you should keep it.
Just stick with it and screen.
I'm committing. I'm committing to it.
Safe.
I'll tell you, it is why I
It
thought
could win editing.
two months ago I would have been like Mikey Madison walking away with it. What are we
Yeah,
even?
most
talking
people
about?
were.
Yeah.
Most people
Now here
thought
we
a
are.
couple months ago Angelina Jolie totally get nominated. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they gave me the viewfinder and everything.
Yeah, but did you get the Amelia Perez candle?
I didn't. I was not bequeathed a candle.
You were not bequeathed a candle.
I was merely bequeathed the medical documents.
Wait,
That
what?
Netflix sent. You didn't get like the medical folder?
Oh, I did get the medical folder. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was like
That was crazy.
that was the scariest thing I ever got in
Doctor.
the mail. Yeah, Doctor 80. That can be part of Armand's act.
It really could be.
It really could be. Well, he's kind of talking.
Albert should do all of the Amelia Perez songs in her show.
Well, he's kind of talking about like I don't know. It's
Jay.
it's yeah. Jay's like looking at the thing. Anyway, for the Jay this year at the Oscars, it's your favorite year at the Oscars, buddy, because your favorite film
It's the
won
Fargo.
Best Picture. This is the Fargo year. This is the Jerry Maguire Secrets and Lies, or as we call it around here, Lies and Secrets.
Or as
Shine.
I call it, the year that Madonna was snubbed in Best Actress.
Oh, was she?
I talked
Anyway.
about that actress thing on Kevin's podcast.
You didn't talk about it that year, did you? Did you go?
That
on
was the
Fargo
year I did on And the Runner Up Is on. Yeah.
Oh, on Francis McDormand.
That's the year I did.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah, and then the English Patient.
Marvin's
Best Picture.
Room.
Yeah,
We don't mention that movie in this house.
what, the English Patient?
No.
Or Marvin's
Marvin's Room.
What did I just say?
Which one? We said two films at the same time. So
Not The English Patient.
okay, so we don't
The
say
other one.
So we don't say
Marvin's Room.
Marvin's Room.
The reason why Madonna did not get nominated.
Oh, you think it's because of Diane Keaton?
Yes.
In
And also
Marvin's
because
Room?
she's Madonna.
I was gonna say, like, I think that there's another reason other than Diane Keaton.
That is a cool year of Best Actress.
That is-
actually.
It's a year.
it's a
cool
good year.
Emily Watson, Breaking the Waves.
No,
That's cool, huh?
it's an A+ indie year. That was the indie
that was the
year
weird
at the
year.
Oscars.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
year everyone freaked out because the only studio movie was Jerry Maguire, and everyone lost their shit that the Oscars were suddenly turning from studio movies to being just the little indie Oscars, and then they did
And then boy,
for the most part.
and then now, if they can only look into the future, and see what movies are getting nominated now, they'd be so upset. Imagine that 90 crowd, like people in the 90s saw Amelia Perez. That would be interesting. I guess The Crying Game is like the closest version to that, I guess.
Crying Game is rad. I love that movie.
Jay's a big fan of The English Patient.
Negative.
Loves on that
Mm,
movie.
I'm
You
not
don't
a
like
big
it?
fan.
You're not even a big fan either? I think
Nope.
it's all right. I don't think it's
It's
that
all
bad.
right. It's whatever.
I don't think it's bad. And, I
It's
don't
not
think
bad. It's just
it's not
fine.
Fargo. It's not Secrets and Lies.
I mean,
No.
it does boldly ask the question, what if a movie was long?
What if a movie was so long and it became a literal plot point of a Seinfeld episode?
Oh my god.
Would you guys nominate the Birdcage in any other category?
Oh, yeah.
Adapted screenplay, supporting actor Nathan Lane, supporting actor Hank Azaria, art direction, costumes.
Well, the art direction did get nominated. So.
I know. I'm
Oh, okay.
yeah. Actually, the score is wonderful.
Pretty great. Yeah.
A little merengue. I love that.
Cinematography for Chivo?
I think cinematography, yes, because the colors are so fucking rich.
I'm giving it cinematog.
Yeah. Oh my god. God damn it, Jay.
Yeah. Cinematog?
I'm giving it cinematog.
That's pretty broy for somebody who defaults to margaritas and mojitos.
And
I'm just
and
saying.
rosé. Yeah.
And rosé. So I don't know
cinematog.
what's going on. That's
who's overcompensating right now?
Wait, Jay, did you
Jay,
did you ever come up with a way to say Netflix?
I don't think I ever came up with anything terribly sufficient.
Where were you stuck at?
I don't remember.
The Flex?
The flicks.
Flicks? Okay, there you go.
No, I've
I've
already heard someone do that.
Yeah, I'd give Birdcage picture and director. Like, why not?
Yeah, I would go even in a 5-year. This would be stacked.
Best
for me.
English Patient, get out of here.
Best screenplay, adapted screenplay, Sling Blade won. No, you don't, Oprah. And then The Crucible, The English Patient, Hamlet, and Trainspotting were nominated.
You got so many places
I
for
love
Birdcage to fit in there.
But I love that Sling Blade win so much. Beating English Patient, love that win.
That's a great win, and it's Billy Bob.
Yeah,
Billy Bob.
He was in his element during this time. Indie movie.
Yeah, he was.
He did a lot of a good amount of screenplays.
Well, we talked about one.
Yeah.
On the last series or a couple of series ago, with Carl Franklin. Yeah, that movie.
So good.
Yeah, I kick out Mingello or Scott Hicks.
I have not seen Shine.
It's fine.
Is that one I need to catch up on?
Yeah.
I think the wrong supporting actor got nominated, but
I don't think Jeffrey Rush should have won.
No.
I would have given it
Scott Hicks done.
I would have given it to Cruz for Jerry Maguire.
I'm sure you would.
He's good in that movie.
You'd give it to Cruz like so much.
I give him to two Oscars. Is that a crime? You give him 2 Oscars?
Kind of seems like it, yeah.
So I give him it for Jerry Maguire and I give it to him for Magnolia.
Yeah.
Oh, controversial.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Those are great.
I'd give it to him for Valkyrie.
I give it to him for Rock of Ages. Well, I just Harrelson's okay in People versus Larry Flint.
He's great. That movie's fantastic.
Billy Bob's good in Sling Blade, but I prefer the screenplay win. And I'm not going to give it to Fiennes for English Patient.
God, no.
No. Also, shouldn't Macy be in lead actor?
Yes.
Yeah.
If he was in lead actor, I might give it to Macy.
He's a great old school category fraudster.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna just go in there. And honestly, I wouldn't give it to Cuba Gooding Jr. I would have given it to Ed
I think
Norton.
he has more screen time than Francis McDormand.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Like, isn't because Francis is like a borderline lead.
Opposite category fraud.
Yeah. They're both like
I think she's the center of the movie though.
Yeah.
Well,
she's the most memorable character.
The Anthony Hopkins of it all.
Whatever that means. Yeah.
Yeah, Frances in that movie, she does eat somebody alive. Well, there's the wood chipper. So there's that. Okay.
She's pregnant. Technically, somebody's eating her alive.
Oh, for God's sakes. A million points to Jay for that one. That's an incredible joke there.
Thank you.
Absolutely right. Very, very forward of you, sir. Erik, Thank you so much for coming on and doing this stupid show with us.
How do I even follow up after
I don't
that?
know. You're just gonna have
what
to
is
tell.
there to say?
You're just gonna have to tell everybody where they can find you and all your work, and also
Obviously behind Jay's genius, because
well, no, I'm
I
not
am
done.
merely in the
Yeah,
shadow.
Ryan gave me a lot of points there that I'm not sure I deserved. But
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to recoup.
Tell us where they can find you and all your work, as well as also a recommendation of the week, something that you've been watching or caught up with. Doesn't have to be new. It can be something old that you want the listeners out there to catch up with this week.
Besides this movie?
Besides this movie. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, you actually have to watch things, which
I forgot this part of the show. So let me think about that. Yeah, obviously you can find me at awardswatch.com because you are already here ostensibly. Yeah, and on socials at AwardsWatch, awards_watch on Twitter. It is, at least right now, knee deep in Oscar season, and it will be right at the finish line by the time this comes out. So it'll be Manic Monday every day during this time. What am I going to recommend?
I don't know. What you been watching?
Well, I just started, again, we're dating our timeline here, but I just started watching a whole bunch of Sundance Film Festival movies. So actually, what I'll recommend is something that hasn't gotten picked up, but hopefully it does. And if it does, comes out this year. And it's called Twinless with Dylan O'Brien. Absolutely fucking incredible. Incredible movie.
Is that like a Smartless spinoff?
Yeah, it is not. It's more like Limitless, but no, it's not at all. No. He plays twins.
Bradley Cooper,
a gay one and
Jason
a straight
Bateman,
one.
Will Arnett.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing since we're back on the bro train, I guess now. So yeah, that's what I'll recommend. Hopefully it comes out this year and people can see it, and I'm not just making the recommendation in vain.
We call that a flex and a recommendation at the same time.
Nice.
A flexamendation.
I get to watch all these Sundance movies. Well, also maybe it'll come out. I don't know. You people are never going to watch it. Jay.
Yes.
Same drill, buddy.
Yeah. Letterbox, Jay Ledbetter, Twitter at Mr. Jay Ledbetter, any writing I may be doing over at the great website, awardswatch.com. Recommendation, I have been just swallowed whole by Mike Nichols movies. So I will once again go to the world of music, the great music, and say that I've been listening. You know what I've been listening to a lot of? I've been, again, on a real new wave kick. Been listening to a lot of the.
Whoa.
Big fan of the. So go listen to a lot of the.
Do you listen to Talk? Because if you listen to the, you should listen to Talk.
I need to go listen to more Talk, but the has been in my headphones on a regular basis here. So
I like it.
Go check out the.
More new wave, the better.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree as well. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, McQuade77. You can find all my work here at awardswatch.com. If you like podcasts, we have the Awards Watch podcast. It's usually released every Monday. Miscellaneous ones during Oscar season will be released throughout the week. Find us on iTunes and Spotify. 5-star reviews. We greatly appreciate it. While you're over on the website, please sign up for the newsletter. That's something that Erik, on occasion, likes to go ahead and
I do my best.
He does his best, people, and that's all you
I'm trying, people.
Recommendation of the week. Went and saw the new Steven Soderbergh movie last week, Presence. That came out. I thought it was okay, but then it got me to
glowing.
Yeah, but then it got me to watch another a couple of soda pops. And got to watch Ocean's 12.
What are we doing here?
A great film.
Which is a freaking masterpiece.
I watched Ocean's 11 again last week.
You did?
Yeah, again.
Movie rules.
I think it's the movie I've watched the most ever, except for when I was a kid and I watched like Aladdin and the King of Thieves 6,000 times.
Which weirdly enough, was the return then of Robin Williams.
It's Ocean's 11 and Aladdin, King of Thieves.
And and then I watched Out of Sight because that's a masterpiece and
Great film.
Yeah, that old soda pop. He knows how to.
I thought you were going to say Bubble.
Nah, I was gonna put Bubble on. But no, I just wanted to watch some comfort watches of soda pop movies, and boy, did they go down smooth. Anywho, thank you all so much for listening. We will be back next week. We will be talking about primary colors. So thank you all again. Thank you, Eric, and we will see you all next time.